Welcome to Being Extraordinary with Akasha Awaken. Here we awaken the Akash to the non-physical reality that stores ancient wisdom and magic for us all. This podcast is dedicated to the stories, the knowledge, and the people who have found a way to tap into this knowledge and bring it into our physical reality, fully allowing themselves to embrace our true and extraordinary nature, and hopefully inspiring you to do the same. In today's episode, I am interviewing Majdaleen Asmi. And Majdaleen and I go back a solid 8 years when her journey began in Canada as a part of the Syrian Refugee Crisis Initiative that took place in 2015. So at the time, I had been working at an organization who helped welcome and integrate these families into their new communities. I particularly worked in the department with children. So helping children get ready for school in Canada, being the liaison between the family who often did not speak English and a very English-speaking school setting. So school supplies, buses, calendars, school zones, all that kind of fun stuff. So I had worked primarily with her children. So Majdaleen hails from Syria. She's a beautiful, bright Muslim woman. Her first language is Arabic, and she has accomplished some really profound things in her time here in Canada. For the most part, our relationship had been fairly work-based. We were obviously close, we had dinner together, things of that nature, but it was really working. Until recently, I reached out and said, hey, Majdaleen, I haven't connected with you in some time. I would love to catch up. Let's set it up. So I had recently had coffee with Majdaleen. And in that time, her actual story about what had happened to her in Syria, her fleeing the war, some of the sights that she saw, and experiences that she truly lived firsthand had come up. And it's not that I wasn't aware that happened. I had heard, in very passing comments that some of the families I had worked with had really lived some traumatic experiences. But remember, I worked with the kids. We were keeping it light and fun. That wasn't information that I needed to know about to do my job effectively. So it wasn't things that came up. And she had told me her story. And honestly, I was shocked because Majdaleen is very intelligent. She's so easy to work with, well-mannered. She's just a delight to be around. And you would never know that just a short few months before I had met her, she had experienced something that I hope nobody has to experience in their entire life. And I don't know if I find her story, so I find everyone's story very compelling when they come from extreme circumstances and really make something out of a traumatic experience. I obviously am always interested in those stories. But there's something about her story because we are the exact same age. So when I hear about her story, it's so easy to be like, wow, this could have been me. So her story, she lives through some insane things and she's in her early 20s at the time. So when we had gathered for coffee to catch up, I had invited Majdaleen to share the story. I said, you know what, this is very compelling. And I think far too often we assume that if people have a nice life and things are going really well, that there's no story there. Everything just happens the way that it happens. And we don't acknowledge the profound background that so many of us live with, that we can turn those dark moments or those traumatic moments and really turn it into the fuel that lights our fire to move forward and do what's right by us and our family and take chances. So Majdaleen has kindly agreed to share her story because, trust me, it is profound on this podcast. And she has come so far and lived what I would say several different lifetimes in this short span of 8 or so years. And what she's about to tell you and the experiences that she's gone through are nothing short of extraordinary. Listen in. Okay, and we are back, and today I have such a great guest. I have Majdaleen here with me, and we actually met back in 2015, but 2 seconds ago I was like 2017. So you've been here for how many years? 8. 8? Oh my god, I can't believe how long we've known each other. But anyway, I met Majdaleen back in 2015 when I was working for the YWCA, who was welcoming people from war in Syria. So you were actually one of the first families
Yes.
that came to Prince Albert.
Family arrived to Prince Albert.
You were the first Syrian family?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, how epic that this is the interview we're having. But anyway, I wanted to have Majdaleen on here today to talk about her story because it is amazing. And you went through so many changes. You moved across the world. You learned a new language. You integrated into a community that has a terrible winter.
Yeah.
And now you've been, doing your thing for 8 years. And now you work at the YWC too, don't you?
Yeah.
So it's come full circle. The organization that, met you when you got here, now you work at and do that for others, which is incredible. So anyway, I wanted you to kind of come on and talk about your story. What was life like in Syria? When did things change? That kind of thing.
Okay. Like as Kyla said, my name is Majdaleen and I came to Canada in 2000 and the coldest year and the coldest month of the year. It was very cold here. But like in my country, our weather is different. Our life is different. We're sitting there, we're happy in our life. Everything was good until like the first day that the airplane come and they throw the first bomb beside our house. It was like very hard to go outside in a minute. You don't know what's happened outside. And I just went outside running with my husband and my oldest son. And I forget that I have a baby on the bed. I forget him. Like after I ran outside, my husband asked me like, where's your son? Where's Chris? I said, oh, I just left him. Like he go back and then grab Chris and then we went to a neighbor basement. We think at that time we thought like it was safe to be in the basement. Like the bomb will not go through like 3 or 4 floors. Mm-hmm. But like it was very bad. Like the bomb destroyed. It's not just a house, like maybe 5-6 houses around. It was very hard.
And did you guys know that the war was coming, or was it like a surprise?
No, it's surprise. Like I was just sitting. We were fasting the day of Ramadan.
Oh, of course, during Ramadan.
And then I was feeding Hassan because he's still 1 year and a half. And I feed him, and then I told my husband, I hear an airplane. And he said, are you sure? But we know, like, the airplane come to different places in Syria. But this is the first time was coming to our place. And then we just hurry up, and then we went to our neighbor's basement. And then when we went there, like, if you see the scene is very, like, I don't know how to explain it. You see a mom, like, carrying 2 girls. They were taking a shower, and she just wrapped them with a towel. And then she bring them there, and then one of the men's come, like, he doesn't have hand, like his arm broken from a top. And then bleeding. Other kids came screaming. Mom's searching about her kids. Like, if I explain it from today until tomorrow, I won't finish.
Oh my goodness.
Like, it was very bad. And then a couple days, we don't go back to our house. Like, we went to our friend's house for a couple days. And until my dad said, like, we can't live here anymore. We should go. Like, my mom and my sisters and my brother left before me. Mm-hmm. But my dad stayed there until I finished my passport and everything because he said, I can't leave you here.
And so then, did they leave to a neighboring country? Did they go to Jordan?
Yeah, they go to Jordan, but they didn't go, like, with a passport. Like, they just crossed the border walking.
Right. And if you don't have a passport, what happens?
Yeah, you should cross walking. Like, if the police attack you, maybe they will kill you.
Oh my goodness. And can you work and things when you get to Jordan if you don't have a passport, or?
No, it's hard. Like, until today, my sister got married and then her husband doesn't have any paper with him until today. Until today, he still work under the table because he doesn't have anything.
Wow. Okay.
Has her name on it. And then until, like, my dad said, like, today the day we should leave. Like, he know, because my dad used to work in the military, he know it's getting worse and then we should leave. And then he went just to grab a paper for my sister because she just finished her university. And then when he went there, he took my son with him. And then he's late, like more than 2 hours, and there's no phone to call him at that time. Like they cut all the phones, everything. And I tried to call him a couple of times, but he doesn't answer. And then after 2 hours, my husband came and said, "Why are you late? Why don't come?" I told him I'm still waiting for my dad to come back, but until now he doesn't come. And then Hassan with him. And then when I told him that Hassan with him, he's shocked and he took the motorcycle and then he just ran. He doesn't say anything.
Oh my goodness.
I just go from this door to other door, just looking to see if someone's coming. And then after 10 minutes, I saw like my dad's car's coming. And like when I look through the windows, it's not my dad driving. And the one besides not my son. And then when the car stopped, I said, "Where's my dad?" And then he just opened the back door of the car, and then he come down with, like he's wearing a white abaya and the blood all over the white abaya. And at that time, I didn't think about my dad. I think about my son because he's always with him. I say, "Where's my son?" He said, "He's okay, he's okay." And then at this time, my dad get a shot in his shoulder, and then this shot open his back. Like it's very bad shot. And then he's okay. He came home at that day and then get stitches without freezing or anything.
Oh.
And then the next day morning, he said, like, "Let's go. We can't wait." I told him, like, maybe 2-3 days, like your arm's still very bad. Like you can't drive with this. He said, "No, we should go." Like he rubbed his hand with a towel and everything, and then he dressed up. He doesn't want anybody to saw him like he got a shot or anything. And then we drive for 6 hours, waiting on the border because he knows someone he gonna stamp our passport. We sat there for 6 hours until this person came and then stamped the paper and then crossed the border. And then now we feel like safe. Everything's good. But after that, like we start from the beginning. We don't have anything with us. We don't have money. We don't have clothes with us. We don't have anything. We start there from my husband working. And
where did you stay? Like, where were you staying? Did you have friends?
Yeah, I stayed with my brother and my sisters, my family, first 25 days. And then my husband decided to go find a job and work. And then we rent a small house. It's not like it doesn't paint, like there's no windows in this house. Like just we put plastic on the window to live for a couple months. After that, my husband said, like, I don't want to be working with other people. I should open my restaurant. And then we start to open the restaurant, and there's a lot of people helping us to open this because we don't have like much money to open the restaurant. And then we start to work until we are okay. And then we got a call from the UN. They call us and then they ask if we want to go to Canada. I told my husband, "No, I don't want to go. We don't know this country. We don't know what language they speak. We don't know like their religion. We don't know anything. I don't want to go. I want to stay with my family here beside my mom, my dad, and my sisters, brothers." He said, "No, if we stay here, it's not good. Like, see, I'm working all day, all night, and we don't have enough money for kids if they go to school or anything." I said, "Like, it's up to you. Like, do what you want."
And how old were you at this time? Because you're super young. Like, you were young when you were...
Yes, around 23.
23, mom of two, fled your country, started a business, and now the UN calls you and says, "Hey, you have this opportunity to go to Canada."
Yeah, I was so so nervous. Even when we got, like, they call us, and then after like around 28 days, we should be going. Like, it doesn't take a long time, like, to search or find out, or they didn't tell us like the place we're going to. Like, they just say, "You're going to Canada." We don't know where we're going. And then just sign a paper, and then when we get to the airport, My husband said, "Where are we going? Do you know where?" Like, I think, oh, I will change my mind. I will come back. I say, no, we can't stop the airplane. Just think about it. And then now we're going to stay here in the airplane. And then after we reach there, we're going to think what we're going to do. And then when we reach to Toronto, like, it's freezing. Even nobody can go outside. Like, my kids, like, I didn't wear, like, dress them properly.
Yeah.
Like,
you wouldn't even have clothes that were winter for Canada.
Yes, for Canada.
Did they have coats for you?
Yes, they give us on the when we reached Toronto, they gave us the coats and everything. And then the next day we come to Saskatoon, and then there's all the YWCA outside waiting for us, but we don't know like where we're going, what's happened.
Oh my goodness.
And we have just a paper with us like telling like who we are, and then
was there anybody at the airport for you that spoke Arabic?
No,
because at the beginning, you're the first family. There wasn't that many Arabic speaking people, so it was like even more confusing.
Yeah, it's very confusing. And then just walking toward the door, like, but we looking around, nobody here, like all the people just left, and then we don't know what to do. And then my husband showed the security over there, like, do you know anything about this paper? He just showed him the paper, like he doesn't know how to speak English. And then he just go in this door, this way, and then the door is open, and we saw all the people just waiting for us, all like, why did we see staff waiting outside, they have flowers, they come to hug us, welcome, you're the first family. Oh. And then the TV taking pictures, and I don't know what's happened at that time, like until today. If I think about this day, I was so surprised to what happened. And then they put us in a big van, and then at this time we don't know what's happening or where we're going. So
oh my God.
They told us like you're going to the hotel, and then they drove us for 1.5 hours, and then after 2 days they told us we are the first Syrian family. Nobody here speak Arabic, and I got a shock like what the heck, what we gonna do? Like we don't speak English, and then we gonna speak with those people, and if we want anything, how we gonna tell them? And then 2 days later, like BA now come and then record us and then put us in the news.
Oh my gosh.
And all the people on the street, like if we saw anybody on the street, like just waving to us, say, hi, welcome to Canada. Well, we don't know the story. And then
and they could tell that you were the family because you wear the hijab, right? And then
wear
probably
the
first person in Prince Albert.
Yeah. And like I start to go to school, and then the next day couple of families arrive that I feel like more
thank
safe.
God, yeah.
More safe, like there's 5-6 families around me now, we can speak, we can talk. And after a couple weeks I start to go to YWCA to study English, and I feel it's very bad if I don't speak English. If I want to visit a doctor, it's very hard to say a specific thing about yourself, and you have translator with you. And I always force myself to do more, study hard, do my homework, and then came back home, watch YouTube videos to learn fast, until like after 3 years studying at YWCA, I get level 8.
That's really high.
Yeah, it's very high. But every 2 months they moved me to different class, because I was like, if the teacher asks a question, I am the first one who answer.
Yeah, I remember that. Why, yeah, you did move up really fast.
Yes, after 3 years, I finished everything. I have a baby, she was. I stayed home for 1 year and 3 months. And then I joined SAS Polytechnic after that. And then
so you got your grade 12, right?
Yeah, I finished grade 9, 10, 11, and 12 in 3 years.
Wow.
And early childhood education. All of them.
You have early childhood education too?
Yes, all of them in 3 years. Like I worked so hard. It was like an extremely hard years with the babies.
Not to mention and then getting used to a new culture, new weather, and everything's learning everything new.
Yeah, I learned everything new.
Oh my goodness.
And now I used to it. It's okay. If the snow's coming, I'm okay with it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So would you say that you're doing well, you're happy, you're proud of how far you've come.
Yes, I'm very proud of who I am today, and also my kids proud of me. Because in my country, I used to finish my grade 12. I want to finish it, but like I didn't pass, and then I got married. And then my mom always told me that she wanted me to be a good educator. But my mom now passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
3 years ago with a cancer.
Oh.
And my
Did
dad,
you have a chance to see her?
No.
Oh.
That
was right in COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's in God. COVID, and also like I get to be a Canadian citizen after 3 years waiting because of COVID. And then I applied for my passport, and my passport come like 2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, when you come to Canada as like if you have a refugee or asylum status, you don't have a passport. You get a piece of paper that says, "Hey, you're in asylum. We're welcoming you into Canada." So you can't you can only travel with that piece of paper to your destination, and then you cannot go anywhere else until you receive a Canadian passport.
Yeah.
And like that was right in the middle of the pandemic. So you have to first become a Canadian citizen and pass all those tests. You need to have the appropriate English level, and then you have to wait the regular time for a passport. Like, oh, that is crappy timing.
Yeah, I applied for my passport last year in February, and then until this February it's come back.
And we're doing this interview in February 2023. So it literally took the full 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was very hard.
So your mom wanted you to be an educator. She obviously thought you were very smart. And you are.
Yeah, always, like when I'm studying when I'm young, she said, "You're good. You should be something in the future." But
yeah, and so how old were you when you got married?
I was 19.
Yeah. So did you finish your grade 12 or not quite?
Yeah, I finished but in my country it's different than Canada. I should do the whole book at the end of the year. Like I should do math, science, biology, everything at the end of the year, and then I should study the whole book.
Oh,
and
I see.
do other tests for it.
Oh, okay, I get it.
The test was very hard. I didn't pass the test. That's why.
And then after, if you would have passed the test, would you have to have then studied another thing to become an educator, or once you graduate grade 12, you can do whatever you want?
No, if I graduate grade 12, I should go to university to continue education.
Yeah, and then that's when you got married.
Yeah, I got married. I have kids, and then the war started.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? It's like there was a huge part of the story where you were basically in like starting a new life, like
starting.
But now you can choose to do what you want. Like now you can do those things.
Yeah.
So what do you have? What's your dream like in Canada? What do you want to do? If you could do or be anything, what would it be?
Oh, I want to be a teacher first. Like was my dream before.
Teaching little kids, adults in school.
Yeah. But first, like I could teach my kids first.
Yes. Because they're still very young. How old are your kids?
Yeah, 12, 10, she's 4 years.
Okay.
First, I want to teach my kids. Second thing, like if I got any paper from anywhere, from the government, I want to know what's this paper. I don't want to knock every time when other people ask them what this paper, what this means.
But just so you know, the Canadian like government papers, like I'm like, what is this saying? Like it's hard for everybody.
Yeah, but like if you don't have, like if you have just level 4, like you are not able to understand all this paper or sign any paper. But now, like, I have a better understanding for all the paper that kids have from school or anything. I teach my kids now English, Arabic, and French. I teach them English and Arabic. I can't teach French. But maybe in the future I will learn French. But until now, no, I'm good with 2 languages. And then second thing, I want a good person that know about everything around. Like I don't want some people to ask me about anything and I don't know how to answer. I get my education.
So you're still kind of studying and learning, and then eventually you want to go back to school to become a teacher.
Yes. Yeah, my plan to go next year, inshallah.
Oh my God.
To SAS Polytechnic again, and I have a lot of support.
Yeah.
Teachers at SAS Polytechnic that they helped me in the past, and then they try to help me in the future. And lots of people around me, even I don't know them. Like just when I came to Canada, they know me, and then they start to push me every day and every time to be a good educator, and then they help me. Now I will study maybe next years. I will be coming back. I leave this years to work, and because I need much experience, and as you know, like I'm still not speaking very good English. I want to learn to speak a very good English, and then to I work a little bit to have this much money. If I go to university, I will pay for it for the courses I need to take. That's why I work for this year's, or I work with YWCA Settlement Services as a mom and baby circle.
Oh, good for you. And that's helping the mom and with the babies learn English, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then do craft or anything, ask question in English, and then
And there's a part of it that's about socializing too, because it can be isolating in winter at home with a baby. And
also I work with Saskatchewan River Public Schools Division as an EA.
Really?
Sub-EA, yeah.
Oh, amazing. That's awesome. So do you get call-outs to schools to help out?
Yes, now I know all the school around. I know lots of teachers around, even kids. Like a couple months ago, I was walking in the mall, and then there's a little girl. She just come like running, and she hugged me. I said, "Who is this girl?" She said, "Oh, you were my teacher last week." I said,
"Oh." So cute. You're like accidentally famous in this town because of just being like the first person. And I even think about, like, I had just called you up. I had seen your husband, and I was like, "Oh, like I haven't seen Majdaleen in a while. I should see what she's up to." So I had messaged you, and I was like, we ended up talking about your story, and I was like, we should talk about this. Like, we should get this on the podcast. So, like, again, like people always want to hear your story, right? You are a good like speaker and teacher, and just like very memorable. Accidentally famous in Prince Albert for the story that you've had. So, do you feel God or the divine helped you through that? Like, was there any moments where you were like, I can't believe this happened. I must be very protected in your whole journey?
Sometimes I feel like maybe God like chose me to be here because about everything about my past, and then I'm a good person. That's why He chose me to be in this place. But it's not easy. In a new country, a new place, new people, new life.
Yeah, when you were telling your story about like when you got here, I literally was like, that is terrifying. Like to arrive to a place not knowing where you're going, can't communicate, no one's really told you what's going on, it's freezing, you've never seen the country before.
Yes.
Like you guys handled that really well. That's very scary.
Yeah, the first couple months I'm always crying. I told my husband, "You want to go back? Like it's not good. Like see, it's winter all the time. Like you can't go outside, walk or visit anybody here because you should have a car and driver license and everything." But at that time, like my husband had a driver license from my country, and then after 9 months, I have my driver license and I'm good now. I have class 4 driver license.
Good, that's awesome. Oh wow. So, if you were to like, what got you through all that? Like, how did you said that would have been hard, and you said you're crying every day. Is there anything that like got you through? Was it like your faith or your family or just knowing you had no choice? Like,
no, like I got through all this stuff. Like my husband always supports me, and then every day he told me that I'm here because we're here because like we have this like that happened in Syria. But I am here. It's your family or dad. If you have anything or get in trouble or have anything you want to ask about, I will be here beside you. Tell me.
He's such a good man. You guys are such a great family. So nice. So you always felt like supported and loved.
Yeah.
That there was like a, community and family. And if you had to give advice to other people who are going through what you're going through, like big life changes and not stable and not knowing like what their, next moments might entail, what kind of advice would you give?
I will tell them like to believe themselves first, and then don't think like all the door will be closed. Like some door will be open, and if you go to this door and then it's closed, know that's the creator give you another chance to try. And if you are not good in on this thing, you will be better on other thing. And then just follow your dreams.
Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. That's what I talk about a lot with people. If something isn't working, it's oftentimes because it wasn't like meant for you. There's something else that you're good at, or it's like your calling or your specialty. You know, the city that we live in, there's not a lot of light. You know, it is a hard place. There's a lot of issues here. It's very cold for a long period of time. And sometimes I think the people that can like shine the brightest light or make the biggest difference end up getting stuck here because there's a lot of people who need healing. You know, I talked to somebody once and I said, it's like, oh, you know, I just don't know why I had to be born in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Like, it's really not the land of opportunity. And they said to me, like, sometimes the brightest lights end up in the darkest places because you get to change how things are. And, you know, you yourself have experienced racism and things like that. Does it make you like passionate about educating people about, you know, race or difference or language or faith? Like, do you care about that stuff? Like, what do you like to educate in?
Yes, lots of people, they don't know about like different religion or different colors or different people come from different country. They don't know the situation. That's why I came here, or what's the problem over there. But like they just know I am different, or I am wearing a hijab. That's mean I am different than them, or I'm coming here to take their land or to take their job, or a lot of stuff like that. Like I have this experience one time when I was pregnant with my daughter, and I went to see the doctor, and I was on very bad mood because I always when I go to the doctor, they send me to do a picture like an X-ray because my baby doesn't feel good at that time. And when I reached to the office, like to the doctor office, and then there's a lady over there. She just like saw me and she started screaming in my face. And she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "From Syria." She said, "You coming here and you have a baby too? Why you come here? Why don't you stay in Syria and die in the war?" I don't know what to answer her.
Oh my God.
At this moment, I just sit and start to cry, and like I just feeling about my baby. Like I'm just thinking about what I have in my stomach. Like my baby's not good. I am not feeling well too. And then she starts to scream, and then after that I don't know what to do, and I don't know to answer. But all the people around me start to tell her to be quiet, but she still screaming, and don't be quiet until the doctors got out and then take her inside, and then they all start to sit beside me and talk to me. And, are you okay? And how you feel now? She doesn't understand what the situation you have, and I told them like, if you were in the war and then you saw in front of you other kids is dying, or they didn't have a head or arm or legs, what you gonna do? Put yourself on my spots or my situation, what you gonna feel?
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awful. But you've had encounters with more people being good to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people are good.
Yeah. Oh, that's terrible. So when you work with, if you in the future you want to work with children, right?
Yes.
Is there something like special that you want to like pay forward to children? Like, how do you want to make them feel? Why are you passionate about educating them?
Yeah, I always want the kids to be safe first thing, because if you are safe, you can do what you want to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's so many kids that like don't feel safe or don't feel seen or don't feel validated. So I think that's a really great perspective to want to take into that. That's amazing. So is there any like final things that you wanted to say or share with?
Yeah, I want to share that. I want to say like to all the people around me, and they help me, support me. Thank you very much to being part of my life.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people, but I think that you've given a lot to other people too. Like I think so. Majdaleen was one of the first families I ever worked with, and I worked with kids going to school, helping newcomer children integrate into school when their language barrier. So I remember that you guys were one of the first families that I worked with. You know, however much I ever or anyone's ever helped you, like I feel like you've always repaid. Cooked us amazing meals, you know, you've said nice things, you've always been such a pleasure to work with. And I think you've taught me a lot too, just through even your story or your experience, right? Yeah. It's always an exchange. When you get something, you always give something. Well, that's so nice. I wanted to thank you for sharing your story because it's not easy reliving that. Reliving that. Oh, yeah. And if there's ever anything you want to share in the future.
I just want to share last point that after I thank all the people, like all the Saspi technique teachers that support me, all the YWCA staff, all my friends around, all the people, they know me after that. And I will say, like, if you want to hear a lot of or more story about the refugee, we have a refugee day at YWCA on June 20th, and they will share story and show other people what's happened there, and they will talk about it.
Yeah, actually, World Refugee Day is an amazing event at the YWCA because it's not just people from Syria. There's people from like all countries who have like totally different stories about how they got here. This podcast is called Being Extraordinary. Honestly, it's because behind every person that you see, usually there's this crazy story that you'd never know. Like when I first met you, I would have, like, I heard stories about Syria. Obviously, we've seen it in the news and it was awful. But I never would have known that you were somebody who, like, seen it firsthand, watched a bomb go off, seen dead people. Like, I never would have known that. So I think people, like, constantly judge, oh, you know, this person's happy or nice. They probably don't have any worries in their life. When really, like, you've experienced something, like, highly traumatic and you'd never know. So I really love that you share your story because it just goes to show you things aren't always what they seem. Right? And I think we do need to give people, like, grace, be like, I don't know what you've been through. And we can't guess. Like, I can't ever imagine what it feels like to do what you did. I can, like, try, but I'll never know.
Yeah, nobody knows other people's situation or what happened to them. Like, they always just judge the book from its cover. They don't know what's inside of it.
So do you think moving to Canada helped you? Like, do you feel like did you ever feel like you judged people by their cover and then you went through something crazy and now you're like, I don't know. Do you feel like you have more compassion or have you always been compassionate?
Yes, I'm always. Not always, but now I'm more compassionate about this. I start to understand other people before I judge them. Like, I start to know their situation or what that's happened, and I start to tell my friends, like, don't say, oh, why he did this or why he did that. Like, listen to a story or, like, give this person a time to tell you what's happened.
Exactly. And, you know, I think there's also this assumption, like, when you think about Canada, there's probably lots of people that have lots of thoughts. But I mean, just generally, it's like, oh, you know, people are nice, life is like this, you know, blah, blah, blah. But we don't realize, like, how diverse just one person's story is. Like, you and I live in the same town, right? And I don't know, I think we get along great, we're the same age, but we have two totally different stories. And that's the same, like a room of people, an office of people. Everybody has such a dynamic story, and we don't talk about it because it's so private, right? And then it's giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I consider myself someone who is always compassionate, but definitely working at the Y helped me a lot too. To be like, oh, wow, I really don't know anything. But yeah, June 21st. I'll make sure I share that on my page for anyone. 20th. Oh, June 20th? Okay, I'll make sure I share that when it gets closer because it's always such a great event at the Y. Awesome. Anything else?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for being here.